These paintings aren't just random blocks of colour, they're examples of how thinking like a scientist shaped one of my artistic styles, and one I never saw coming. I'm Tomasz, a TV weatherman and creative. Welcome to my home studio in London. So what are they? Well, there's lots of blue and turquoise to start with, and a lot of texture. It's quite abstract, but at the same time, it might look familiar to you. Think of water and what lies beneath. It's actually mostly inspired by the ocean, rugged undersea terrain, sandy rocky shallows, coral reefs, and the geology of coastal landscapes seen from above. It's something that really fascinates me, and every time I go away to faraway destinations, I try to get as much inspiration as I can. And I think many of us are drawn to these kind of colours and patterns. There's something calming about them, maybe because we think of faraway destinations, getaways and relaxation. And that's exactly what I was going for when creating this series. Paintings that calm and intrigue at the same time. You might be more interested to hear about how I created them though. You see, slapping thick paint on canvas here won't give you that organic look that I was going for. In nature, patterns look organic because they're not entirely random. There's a certain order hidden in all of that chaos. Coastlines are shaped slowly by water erosion, rocks fold in predictable ways over millions of years, and the result is that ancient look, something that's hard to recreate with a simple brushstroke. So it got me thinking, how could I build up patterns that would mimic real geology? And because I'm a meteorologist and not a geologist, my mind naturally drifted somewhere else entirely. Clouds on satellite imagery and the way they wrap around weather systems, or how cumulus clouds streak over long distances behind cold fronts. Now, that steered me then into thinking about how clouds form in the general sense. Now, that's basic meteorology to me, but I did have a bit of a eureka moment. You see, these large raindrops grew from much smaller cloud droplets, which themselves began life on tiny, very tiny impurities called aerosols, the seeds. Similarly, hailstones, before they fall, they too need to grow in layers on tiny ice crystals, another kind of seed. And the same goes for snow. An initial microscopic ice particle needs to be present in the cloud before a complicated dendrite can grow. It's the idea in nature that you start with something small and simple and end up with something big and complex. So, could I seed the surface of my canvas with small imperfections like grains of sand or thick streaks of paint, and then after it's dried, build up natural looking structures layer upon layer? And that's exactly what I did. Then I used heavy body acrylic materials with sand particles, volcanic rock, and sometimes even glass to achieve unique patterns. Now, there's nothing unique about using texture pastes. It was more to do with how I used them. Lots of sweeping motions with spatulas of different sizes and at different angles. Now, I don't want to give away too many secrets because the art needs to retain an element of mystery, but it turns out that timing and pressure made a real difference. You see, the crucial thing is getting the colours to look natural, and that wasn't as simple as picking blue or turquoise from the tube and just slapping it on a rough canvas. I had to build the paint up in thin, translucent layers and learned that some pigments worked better than others. Again, trial and error. So they are deliberately minimalist. Not all of them look the same. Some carry more energy than others, but they all share a common theme: getting lost in colour gradients which often mimic light and water depth. And then over time, I started pushing the textures further. This one here is called Greenland. It's a piece about climate change with meltwater streaming off the ice sheet into the sea. And you know what? The more of these I make, the more I realise that art isn't just about creating a good painting, it's about how it makes you feel and the process, because really you're not just selling a painting, you're selling a story. Now these may not be your cup of tea. You might prefer something more realistic or vibrant. That's fine, and I love to mix things up. So check out some of my other work through the link. Let me know what you think of all of this in the comments below. I'll reply. Thanks for watching. Happy painting or creating. Over and out.